and the onset took place in association with the cyclone Biparjoy. But afterwards, the cyclone Biparjoy got disconnected and moved towards northern latitude, Gujarat. The advance became sluggish, and therefore peninsular India advance was slow. And finally, it could pick up after the dissipation of the system on 19th June. And from 19th June, there was rapid progress covering maximum parts of peninsular India, eastern India, central India. And by 2nd July, it covered the entire country against the normal date of 8 July. So therefore, while there was late onset, but it was early coverage of the entire country. But however, the onset was not so much classic. Rainfall was not so much heavy in the nature in association with the onset and advance of monsoon in the country. And as a result, the rainfall in the month of June was limited to 9% below the normal. The withdrawal this year started on 25th of September, and usually withdrawal starts from southwest Rajasthan on 17th September as per the revised date of withdrawal introduced by IMD 3 years back. And today it is further withdrawn from many parts of northwest India, and conditions are also becoming favorable for withdrawal of monsoon from more parts of northwest India and adjoining central India during the next 2 to 3 days. Let me tell you that by 15 October, the monsoon withdraws from most parts of the country, and simultaneously the northeast monsoon sets in over the region, especially the southeast peninsula. Now, let us look at what happened to the rainfall. On the left-hand side, it is the rainfall date-wise variation from 1st June to 30th September. As you can see that the rainfall showed almost two different peaks, one in the month of July and another in the month of September. In the month of June, it was less than normal, and in the month of August especially, it was severely less than normal, being 36% below the long period average in the month of August. And it was associated with one of the longest break days in this month. And another factor which resulted in this deficient rainfall in June and August was very less formation of the low pressure systems and their prevalence over the Indian region. Now, if I look at the central part of the country, which is called as the monsoon core zone, you will see that it was similar to that of the all India rainfall activity. The red bar indicates the below normal rainfall activity at least by one standard deviation, and the green one indicates the above normal rainfall activity at least by one standard deviations. So what you find that actually in the month of July, there were many days when it was above normal. In the month of September, when it was also above normal on many days. But in the month of August, especially, you can see the red bars, the frequency of red bars, it will started from 6th August onwards and continued till about 3rd September or 2nd September. So that was the reason why August was so highly deficient. But however, the entire country, if you consider, the entire country rainfall has been, it is 5.6% below the long period average. That means it is 94.4% as on date. And if you look at the distribution over the country, you will find that many districts were with green or blue colors. That means most of the districts we could get as normal or above normal rainfall activity. But deficient districts were also concentrated in a particular area, like eastern India, covering East UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, and against the West Bengal. There is another area, that is the southwest peninsula, I will say, that is Kerala and adjoining districts of Karnataka, mainly, were having the deficient rainfall. And similarly, the third pocket was the northeast India, where rainfall was also deficient. So if I just look at now the subdivisional map, you will find that out of 36 meteorological subdivisions, we have 7 subdivisions which had the deficient rainfall activity, and this deficiency was about 20 to 30% over East UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, against West Bengal, and Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, and Tripura. Similarly, it was over South Interior Karnataka, or also it was about 27%. And Kerala was the most deficient. It was about 36% exactly. Okay, so Kerala was the most efficient among all these 7 meteorological subdivisions. Now, considering the subregional area, it was 18% which had the efficient rainfall, and we have got the remaining area with normal to excess rainfall activity. So, therefore, even if it was rainfall was less by 5.6% compared to long period average, and it comes under category of just below normal, because normal starts with 96% and above. And so distribution was quite good as compared to last year. Now let us look at the country as a whole, rainfall in different months and the season as a whole, and of course the different homogeneous regions. If you all remember, June was 9% below the long period average for the country as a whole. It became 13% above the long period average in July, and 36% below the long period average in August. And September, it ended up with 13% above normal. And for the country, for the season as a whole, the rainfall has been 820 millimeter against normal of 868.6 millimeter. And hence departure is minus 5.6%. Or in other words, I'll say the rainfall has been 94.4% of the long period average. Now let us look at the monthly rainfall for different homogeneous regions. You will find that if I compare June, July, August, September, and June to September, what you find that say country as a whole, yes, it was deficient or below normal in June and August, but became above normal in July and September. But if I consider, for example, South Peninsula, it was 45% below normal in the month of June, which was most affected. At the same time, the Northwest India was a major gainer in the month of June. In the month of July, it got opposite for South Peninsula. South Peninsula got very good rainfall in July, that is 45% above the long period average. But Northeast India became 32% deficit. In the month of August, if we just look at again, the South Peninsula India got worst affected, that is 60% below the long period average. And in the month of September, again, it became positive 24% above the long period average. In the month of September, again, the Northeast India got worst affected. So what I want to say that the peninsular India has been worst affected when you consider the month-wise variation, and this adverse effect has been in the month of June and August, and which are compensated in the month of July and September, like the country as a whole. Now, Central India, if we just look at, you will find that it was near normal in the month of June, and in the month of July, it was above normal. In the month of August, Central India got less than 47% deficient. But in the month of September, again, it was the highest rainfall activity in the Central India. Okay, now let us look at week by week progress of monsoon season. You will see that there is a very systematic variation. It started with the deficient weeks in the beginning of June, and gradually it became normal weeks and above normal weeks. And then again it went towards the deficient weeks in the month of August. Then again it revived in the month of September, becoming the above normal rainfall week. Now let us look at the spatial distribution of rainfall during southwest monsoon season. You can find that in the first map, that is rainfall during June, but you find that Northwest India could get good rainfall activity because of the cyclone Biparjoy and the western disturbances. And but the remaining parts, like northern parts of Peninsula, Eastern India, and northeastern states, got the deficient rainfall activity. So in the month of July, the rainfall picked up, but however, the Eastern India, especially East UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, GWP, got deficient rainfall, along with Assam, Meghalaya, and Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura. So in the month of August, it became the mirror image of July. You can say the western part, which got good rainfall activity in July, got deficient rainfall activity in the August, and eastern part got good rainfall activity in August. But for the country as a whole, it became the highest deficient rainfall activity, that is 36% below the long period average. Again, if you consider the month of September, yes, it has been quite good rainfall activity in the month of September, except the subdivisions in northeastern states and subdivisions adjacent to Himalayas, so especially the Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, and East UP, along with Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, and Arunachal Pradesh got deficient rainfall activity. Central India was the most gainer, having the excess rainfall activity in the September 2023. Now let us look at especially a little more about the daily rainfall activity in the month of September. If you just look at in the month of September, also you will find that periodically the rainfall activity in the beginning was below normal, then it's picked up, became above normal by the second week, then again it went down a little but near normal, then again it picked up in the third week, and fourth week also it continued, but towards the end of the week it reduced and became slightly below normal. So what I want to say that whatever peak you are finding out, that is 1, 2, 3 peaks you are finding out, all these 3 peaks were associated with the low pressure systems. And finally, today also rainfall has picked up, and because of the 2 low pressure systems. Here, these 3 peaks what you are finding, it is because of 3 past low pressure systems. And today rainfall has picked up, and it will continue to pick up during the next 2 days. It is because of the 2 low pressure systems. One is the Wilmar low pressure area over North Bay of Bengal, which is moving towards North Odisha, West Bengal. Another one is a depression which is located near South Konkan and Goa coast, and by today evening or night it will hit the coast and go inside and become weaker gradually. So what I want to say that low pressure systems dominated the activity in September like that in July. Now let us look at the All India Southeast Monsoon rainfall 2023 vis-a-vis El Nino and La Nina years. If you just look at El Nino and La Nina years, this red one is the El Nino and blue one are the La Nina years. Green one are the neutral years. So what you find in general, you get below normal rainfall activity, but it is not the case that all the years having El Nino should have the below normal rainfall activity. There were certain years where it was above normal rainfall activity. And this year, if you just look at all the years, if I compare, this year actually we are, even though it was El Nino year, the rainfall activity has not been so much affected by the El Nino. If I just compare on all the red bars on the negative side, if I just compare since 1901, the negativity was minimum this year. Okay, so that's what I want to say, that El Nino was countered by various other factors, and hence we could get the 94.4% of the long period average rainfall for the country as a whole. Now let us look at the composite of El Nino years. On the left-hand side is a rainfall anomaly composite during southeast monsoon season for the past El Nino years. On the right-hand side, this is a rainfall anomaly composite for the southeast monsoon season for the past positive IOD years. So what you find that usually if you look at the composite, you will get deficient rainfall in most parts of the country, except northern parts like Jammu and Kashmir and northeastern states or adjoining eastern area. But this year it was not the case like that. Of course, eastern area got less rainfall and northeastern get less rainfall, but instead of getting good rainfall activity. So it was just opposite. Even though it was El Nino year, the composite says that you should have good rainfall activity over northeastern states and adjoining eastern India like against West Bengal, some parts of Bihar and Jharkhand. But this year it did not happen. Against West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand got deficient rainfall activity, and also northeastern states also got deficient rainfall activity for the, especially not all northeastern states, the Nagaland, Mizoram, Tripura got deficient rainfall activity. Now if I look at, so what I want to say from this left-hand diagram, that El Nino is not the only factor that is improved this year, that it can be countered by many other factors. So therefore we need not be worried always if there is an El Nino. Then the right-hand side is the composite for all the positive IOD years. If you look at all positive IOD years, what you find that the central India and west coast get very good rainfall activity during the positive IOD years. And this year, the positive IOD became most prevalent during the month of September. In the month of August, month of July, or month of June, it was neutral IOD conditions. So therefore, month of September, I also provide, if you might have seen, previously also, you will see that month of September was very good rainfall activity, and central India got maximum rainfall activity on the left-hand side, you can just see. So here also it demonstrates the role of IOD, or Indian Monsoon Dipole, in the month of September, uh, uh, leading to higher rainfall activity in the central India and west coast. Now let us look at the role of Madden-Julian oscillation. If I look at the Madden-Julian oscillation, left-hand side diagram is a phase diagram which shows how the Madden-Julian oscillation propagates from the coast of Eastern Africa across equatorial Indian Ocean, then maritime continent like Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, etc. Then it goes to West Equatorial Pacific, East Equatorial Pacific, then it goes to Western Hemisphere, America, and Western Africa, then again comes. So to travel like this, the Madden-Julian oscillation takes 30 to 60 days. That means there is a cycle of the Madden-Julian oscillation type of wave moving from west to east, and the entire cycle takes about 30 days to 60 days. If it takes 30 days, then 15 days will have good activity and 15 days will have less activity of rainfall in our region. If it has 60 days, then 30 days you will have good rainfall, and next 30 days you will have bad rainfall activity. Now you can just look at this year. June was deficient, July became excess, August became deficient, September became excess. So it shows that there was some kind of periodicity of 30 days plus 30 days of 60 days. And if I look at this Madden-Julian oscillation locations, this diagram is shown here, you will find that MJ was favorable in the month of July and the month of September. So what I want to say that MJO showed some kind of 60 days oscillation being active over Indian region in the month of July and September. And this is one of the most important reasons which countered the impact of the El Nino, and we could get good rainfall activity along with the positive impact of the positive IOD. And third one, which played the role, is the number of low pressure systems which developed in the month of July and September. Now, just to illustrate the impact of MJO, on the right-hand side, I put up two diagrams. The left-hand side is the rainfall anomaly composite for the Madden-Julian oscillation being active in the phase 1 and 8. Phase 1 and 8 means it is the Western Hemisphere and Africa. If Madden-Julian oscillation is active in Western Hemisphere and Africa, not in Indian Ocean, then our rainfall activity decreases. You can just find here, rainfall increases only along the foothills of the Himalayas, and rainfall decreases entire remaining parts of the country. But if MJO is active in phase 3 and 4. Phase 3 corresponds to Bay of Bengal. You can see here, East Equatorial Indian Ocean. This phase 3, this corresponds to East Equatorial Indian Ocean, that is adjacent to Bay of Bengal. This is phase 2 is the West Equatorial Indian Ocean, that is adjacent to Arabian Sea. Then phase 4 and 5, this is the South China Sea Equatorial Indian Ocean, Equatorial Pacific Ocean, West Equatorial Pacific Ocean. You can see here. Then 6, 7 goes to East Equatorial Pacific. So what you find here actually in September, it was phase 3 and 4, and July it was phase 2 and 3. So what I want to say that in July also it was in favorable conditions. What I want to say that this pink color, if you just look at which corresponds to July, you can find that it is in June 2 or 3 or 4. 5, even if its amplitude is less, it was in 2, 3, 4, 5. If I look at September with blue color, you can find that it was in phase 3 and 4. That means East Equatorial Indian Ocean and maritime continent with higher amplitude also. Amplitude was more. So that means wave was quite active. So July and September, you can find this type of behavior. What I mean June actually, in the beginning of June, it was in phase 2, which helped in development of the cyclone Biparjoy and also development of the advance of monsoon over southern parts of Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea, and Kerala. But afterwards, again, it became inactive and it could not help in further advance of monsoon. So MJO is one of the most important factors which contributed to the monsoon rainfall during 2023. Now let us look at what happened to the very heavy rainfall activity. If we look at very heavy rainfall activity for the season, that means it is 12 centimeter to 20 centimeter. What you find here actually. Most of the activity was over the central parts of the country. You just look at all these dots, and the blue dots are from July, and orange dots are from the September. So you can find that it was dominated by blue and orange dots. That means most of the very heavy rainfall activity occurred in July and September. In the month of August, which are red colors, you can find that it was dominating to some extent in eastern parts of the country and along the foothills of the Himalayas because it was poor monsoon conditions. I need not mention here what happened in the month of August in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand also from July. Then in June, if we just look at it, it was more or less confined to the west central India because of the cyclone Virgil, which caused the very intense rainfall activity. On the right hand side, this is the extremely heavy rainfall activity, that means rainfall exceeding 20 centimeter, that is 21 centimeter and more. So what you find that, yes, again here central part of the country got good rainfall activity in especially the August and September, and here July also it was peninsular India which got good rainfall activity along the west coast, and of course the northwest Himalayan region, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, along with northern parts of Haryana. Now let us look at the disastrous weather events in the monsoon season. If we just look at the country experienced floods in many parts, but flood was not so severe in the plains of the country except in Assam and Meghalaya and Arunachal Pradesh and northwest hill areas, that is Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand. There was flooding, and that flooding resulted in flooding in Yamuna. Also, Delhi was flooded for a quite long time, and historical flood was created after 1978 in the state of Delhi. Now, let us look at, apart from flooding, as it is demonstrated here in the light blue color, you also have some kind of conditions like heat wave conditions in the month of June. If you remember, in the eastern parts of the country, especially Bihar, Jharkhand, East UP, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh, which experienced heat wave conditions. And lightning was a major factor also. It occurred in the convective activity, thunderstorms, etc. And one cyclone developed, that Biparjoy, which affected the western parts of the country. Now, let us look at the number of deaths. If we just look at, yes, floods and heavy rainfall, there was 544 deaths. Of course, this is the media report. It is not authenticated. I will not quote here. All of you should not quote it. Please follow the numbers given by the state authorities and the central authorities. Those are responsible for this. Now, I will just touch upon what happened. There was extreme heavy rainfall activity, some extreme heavy rainfall activity. I will just touch upon that is Himachal Pradesh activity. If you remember, during the monsoon season, it occurred especially in two major intense heavy rainfall spells. One was the 6th to 15th July, which affected Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, but Himachal Pradesh was worst affected. And basically on 9 July, it was worst, and that 9 July rainfall led to also unprecedented rainfall activity in Jamuna, and landslides, mudslips occurred over the entire state. Then again, the second spell was 10 to 15 August, but picked up in 14 August. We have discussed this issue on earlier monthly press release, but still I'm just touching upon to remember those worst cases. Now, incidents of cloudburst, yes, it occurred in Himachal Pradesh, and we could find that mini cloudbursts occurred in certain areas like 5 centimeters over Shahpur in Kangra district, which caused a lot of havoc and damages in the state of Himachal Pradesh. Now, if you look at, this is just an example I was shown earlier, how much was the rainfall variations and what are the extremes. Many records were also broken in the state of Himachal Pradesh. So this is the record-breaking rainfall activity which occurred in Manali, Solan, Ruru, Gomrur, Pachar, Nadau, and Kelam. Similarly, also there was certain record-breaking activity in Chandigarh and Haryana. Now, what was the role of mid-latitude western disturbances? Whenever mid-latitude western disturbances appear during monsoon season, they interact with monsoon circulation and lead to havoc, especially in the northwest India. I'll name Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttarakhand. And that happened this year also, especially in the month of July and August. In the month of June, 4 western disturbances passed over North India, which also impacted parts of central India. In the month of July, there were 4 western disturbances which affected North India. And the most important effect, if you remember, it was 5 to 11 July. Then August, it was 6 western disturbances because monsoon was weak. So western disturbances were more in number. And there were 26 days of western disturbances prevailing over northern India against normal of 2 to 3 western disturbances in the month. In September, 2 western disturbances occurred and their impact was subdued. So therefore, I will say that these western disturbances in the month of July was most disastrous, followed by another in the second week of August, which was also most disastrous western disturbance. Now, exceptionally heavy rainfall occurred during the season, especially during that spell. If I remember, 9 July, there was exceptional heavy rainfall over Chandigarh, that is in Haryana, and adjoining Haryana also. In Himachal Pradesh also there was exceptional heavy rainfall. Then again, 18 July, Saurashtra's Sutrapada, that is in district of Gir Somarth, reported 54 centimeter rainfall, and Beraval reported also 52 centimeter of rainfall. So you can just imagine, and action was taken based on the early warning, and people are saved. 736 people are evacuated, 358 were rescued, and 12 highways were shut during that period. On 20 July, similarly, the Konkan Raigad reported 40 centimeter rainfall. It led to landslides. On 27 July, Telangana, Lakshmi Devi Peta reported 65 centimeter. You can imagine. So this type of extreme heavy rainfall record has been reported during monsoon season. It was followed by Chitya, 62 centimeter, Regonda, 47 centimeter, Ghanpur, it is in Bhopalpalli district, 46 centimeter. Like that, it caused the heavy rainfall. This type of exceptional heavy rainfall led to the floods in Telangana. If you remember, one village was completely submerged, and army helped and rescued the villagers by helicopter. In 16 to 17 September, Southwest Madhya Pradesh reported rainfall on 16, that is Bhimpur, 45 centimeter. In Southeast Rajasthan on 17 September, Kathiawada reported 34 centimeter, and Meghnagar reported 32 centimeters. So like that, there has been exceptionally heavy rainfall in July and September, especially. Now, this is the location of heavy rainfall event in September, especially if you just look at the central India, as I was telling you, got maximum amount of the heavy rainfall events. If I compare for the past 5 years, 2019, 2021, 2023, so in 2023 events in September, there are 85 extremely heavy rainfall events. If I compare that, it was next to 2021 when there was 97 extremely heavy rainfall events. But if you consider the heavy rainfall events only, then it was not a good high number. In 2019, it was 551 cases. Now this year it was 377 cases of heavy rainfall in September. Now let us, I will now summarize what happened actually good rainfall activity in September. Actually it was a positive IOD, Indian Ocean Dipole, which started in the last week of August, continued in the month of September with increasing amplitude, and it compensated the negative impact of El Nino conditions over Pacific Ocean. Also, there were 5 low pressure systems developed during September. Maiden Julian oscillation was in favorable phase. As I told you, it was in phase 3-4, which corresponds to East Equatorial Indian Ocean adjacent to Bay of Bengal and the maritime continent. That helped in increasing convective activity. Also, it helped in formation of low pressure systems in the month of September, and hence the good rainfall activity. Now let us look at the entire season. If I just look at what you find, that it is written June, July, June to September. Sorry, actually. So LPS during June to September 2023. So if you just look at the total 15 number of low pressure systems developed during monsoon season. So these 15 numbers, if you distribution in June, it was 3, July 5, August 2, September 5, and total therefore 15. The total number of low pressure system days of occurrence, if I just look at Indian region, it was 27 in June, 12 in July, 10 in August, and 16 in September. So in total, it was 65. So what you find actually, that number of days of low pressure was 65 against normal of 55. Number of total low pressure systems was 15 against normal of 13. So that means this low pressure systems was above normal this year, and their total occurrence was also above normal this year. And this could counter the adverse impact of the El Nino over the region. Now let's look at the forecast, what we told. The first forecast we issued on 11th April, that is the first stage of monsoon rainfall for the country as a whole, we issued. At that time, we told that El Nino conditions likely during monsoon season. This was the forecast. Then we told that positive IOD conditions are likely to develop during the southwest monsoon season. Then we further stated that Eurasian snow cover has been less during December to February, which will favor monsoon over India. Free conditions also will counter the adverse impact of El Nino. These were the statements. And accordingly, the rainfall figure was given as 96% plus minus 5%. It was also told in that press conference, that monsoon would get impacted in second half of the season, not likely in the first half of the season. That means there is also the prediction that second half of the season will be adversely impacted and not in the first half. And the second update of the forecast was issued on 26th of May, when we again reiterated that El Nino conditions will be there in the upcoming monsoon season. We also told that positive IOD will develop during monsoon season. We also told that the forecast, same forecast, that rainfall will be 96% plus minus 4%. Now, observation what happened actually at the end of the season, if you just look at weak El Nino conditions developed in July and became moderate El Nino conditions in August and September. Indian dipole remained neutral till third week of August and became positive thereafter. And rainfall has been 94.4% of the long period average. So what I want to say is that the overall picture of the rainfall activity, overall picture of the monsoon circulation, overall picture of the large scale processes like El Nino, IOD could be predicted reasonably. Now let us look at the third stage forecast that was issued on 31st July. In that forecast, we told that weak El Nino conditions are prevailing over equatorial Pacific region. The El Nino conditions are likely to intensify further and continue up to early next year. And neutral IOD conditions are prevailing, and positive IOD conditions are likely to develop during the remaining parts of the monsoon season. And rainfall to be normal, but on the negative side of the normal, we told August, September. And we did not change the forecast for the entire period. I was asked, I told no, we are not changing the forecast. And forecast continued for 96 plus minus 4. And but for the August, September, we told 94 to 9, that negative side of the normal. And observe summary of the monsoon rainfall. If you just look at weak El Nino conditions developed in July and August and September, it became moderate. So IOD, as I was telling it, became positive from last week of August and continued in September. The first half of monsoon season 2023 got more rainfall, that is 10% above normal, and it was below normal rainfall during second half. It was 17% below normal. So what I want to say is that yes, we could predict that it will be on the negative side of the normal, but still it was a little more negative, and that more negativity was mainly because of the rainfall activity, adverse rainfall activity in August. Now let's look at the forecast for each individual month. For the month of June, we told the rainfall to be below normal, that is less than 92% of long period average, and realized rainfall was 91% of the long period average. In July, we told that rainfall to be normal, but on positive side of the normal, that is 100 to 106% of LPA, but it resulted in a little higher and became above normal, that is 113% of long period average. In the month of August, we told that rainfall to be below normal, that is less than 91% of LPA, and it became 64%. It became highly departed from the forecast, and it was one of the record created for the month of August this year. It was the lowest rainfall since 1901. It was 36% deficient. In September, rainfall to be normal, we told, that is 91% to 109%. However, extreme range forecast, we indicated that it will be good rainfall activity in September. We also predicted that there will be low pressure systems, one after another, during the September, leading to good rainfall activity in Central and South India. And finally, we got 113% of the long period average. So August to September, as I was telling a little earlier, we told it will be negative side of the below normal, that is 94 to 99%, but it became 88%, 83%, sorry, it is 83% of long period average. Now let us look at in the forecast, that is the spatial pattern. What is the spatial pattern forecast and what happened finally? And on the left-hand side is the first stage forecast. This is the first stage forecast. And down here is the second stage forecast. This is on 26th of May. This is 11 April. This is 26th of May. And this is the actual rainfall, what has happened in the category-wise. That's above normal, normal, and below normal. On the down, it is the district-wise rainfall activity. So what you see here, that the prediction was that in the second stage of forecast, we look at this area, East UP, northern parts of Bihar, against West Bengal, some parts of southern West Bengal will have less rainfall activity, and here it could. But it's what the central India, if we just look at, it was climatological, that means normal rainfall activity in many parts. In some parts, it was above normal rainfall activity, and also in peninsular India. I would say that it is not perfectly matching with the forecast and actual distribution, but reasonably it could give out the fact that yes, there could be the rainfall activity good to access, you can say, in the central parts of the country and many parts of the central India and many parts of the South India. Now let us look at the month-wise. On the left-hand side is the month of June. I'm just repeating, I have already shown earlier. Month of June, it is the forecast. This is and the actual. And this is the month of July. This is the forecast. Right-hand side is the actual. And this is the month of August. This is the forecast. And this is the actual. Month of September, this is the forecast. And this is the actual. So what I find that we could predict very well to a large extent in the month of June, July, and August, the special pattern. But in the month of September, the special pattern could not be predicted well. The special pattern in the month of September indicated that very good rainfall activity in the central parts of the country, and the rainfall activity was less in the subdivisions adjacent to foothills of the Himalayas. But in the forecast, it was not so predicted. It was predicting just like dipolar behavior with the western part and eastern part. That did not happen. It could predict good rainfall activity in the eastern parts of the country like East Central India, but the good rainfall activity over the western parts, West Central India, could not be predicted. So I would say that it could be predicted very well in June, July, August, but not in September. Now this is especially for the September. I just want to say the same thing once more. I'm just looking at that. Yes, it was not so accurate forecast for the month of September as far as spatial distribution is concerned. Now let's look at the El Nino conditions. The latest weekly sea surface temperatures departure, if you just look at the equatorial Pacific, 3.4 is 1.7 degrees Celsius. So if you just do a simply week, it will say that it is the strong El Nino conditions. Not we have to take into consideration monthly average or 3 monthly average, and according to the moderate El Nino conditions are prevailing over the equatorial Pacific. So in the Western Indian Ocean and across the much of the Atlantic, also sea surface temperatures are quite high. You can see here in the Western Indian Ocean also. Now let us look at the forecast. So if you just look at various types of forecast, you can see here all these red bars are the El Nino conditions. It is telling that El Nino conditions will continue till early part of the year. The very high probability. Gradually it is decreasing from February, March, April. It is decreasing, but still it is quite high. So El Nino is favored through Northern Hemisphere winter 2023 to 2024 with chances exceeding 95% through January to March 2024. That means up to March 2024 we can have the El Nino conditions. Now probabilistic and so model forecast with September initial conditions also you will see it is also showing that yes, it will be an El Nino conditions. The majority of the models, if you just look at here in the third diagram, the majority of models indicate El Nino will persist through the Northern Hemisphere till the spring 2024. Now let us look at Indian Ocean dipole. If you look at the Indian Ocean dipole, you find that all are showing the positive, highly positive values. All the models are suggesting already it is positive. That means positive Indian Ocean dipole will continue in the upcoming months. So if you just look at here, October, December, this is the positive. Red bar is positive IOD conditions. It is continuing November, December, January. For December, January, February, it is showing that it will reduce. It will become zero. That means neutral IOD conditions will be dominant during December, January, February. So what I want to say that we can expect till end of this year, that is October, November, December, to have the positive Indian Ocean dipole along with the moderate to strong El Nino conditions. Now let us look at to some extent what is the performance of our extended range. Every Thursday we issue extended range forecast. As I was telling a little earlier, the rainfall activity was quite good in month of July and month of September, and there was subdued activity in month of June and in the month of August. Whether this could be picked up by extended range forecast, the forecast is issued every Thursday for next 4 weeks or 2 weeks. Let us look at that. This is the case for all India and down. This is the case of the central India. This is monsoon core zone. You can say it's a similar behavior. And this is the verification. We issue the forecast to week 1, week 2, and week 3, and week 4. And what you find actually here, the black line, this is the black line. This is the all India rainfall departure. All India rainfall departure. So black line indicates that it was negative departure. That means it is below normal rainfall activity predicted for the week 2 to 8 June, 9 to 15 June. And these bars in 4 different colors, what you find is for week 1, then week 2, week 3, and week 4. You will find that even up to week 4, it was indicating that 4 weeks in advance, it was indicating that it will be on the negative side this week. Similarly, for the second week, also it was indicating that it will be on the negative side. So on the third week, we just look at it will be near normal. So what I want to say that the extended range forecast issued during this deficient June was quite all right. Up to 4 weeks, there was a signal, but up to 2 weeks, signal was quite clear. There is week 1 and week 2, that is 15 days in advance, it is a very clear signal. But up to 4 weeks also, there was some signal that rainfall will be deficient in the first week, second week, third week, it will be near normal. Fourth week, when it increased gradually, it was also on the positive side. Bar went to positive side. Fifth week, also it went positive side. Sixth week, it continued like that. Then again, in the month of August, July, it's picked up, rainfall picked up. It was going on the positive side. In the month of August, when rainfall was less, that also could be predicted 4 weeks in advance. The rainfall will be on the negative side. It will not be on the positive side. Again, in the month of September, when rainfall picked up, that also could be predicted well by the extended range forecast. So what I want to say that in the seamless forecast system, what IMD has introduced, the seasonal forecast is being followed up by the extended range forecast, and extended range forecast has a very good accuracy or reasonably accurate forecast can be provided at least up to 2 weeks through the system. Now let us look at for Central India. Same is the case. You can find out that Central India rainfall was quite less in August, and it was indicating below normal rainfall activity. In the month of July, it was showing above normal rainfall activity. In the month of September, it was showing above normal rainfall activity. In the month of June, it was showing below normal rainfall activity. So that means it could predict not only for a country as a whole, but also for the Central India, which is a very important region in terms of the rainfed area. Now let us look at what is the forecast. Now we are issuing the forecast for post-monsoon season 2023. On the left-hand side, this is the forecast map, spatial distribution of the rainfall probability. The yellow, orange, red indicates below normal rainfall. Green indicates normal rainfall. Blue, deep blue indicates the above normal rainfall activity. So as for this multimodal ensemble forecasting system, which considers the best models, 5 best models, and prepares this forecast by our Central Research and Services Division, Pune, you will find that it is indicating that the South Peninsula, if I just look at South Peninsula, the South Peninsula I am talking first because the Northeast monsoon season or post-monsoon season is dominantly prevalent in terms of rainfall over the Southeast Peninsula. That covers actually Andhra Pradesh, coastal Andhra Pradesh, Rayalaseema, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Puducherry, and South Inter Karnataka. And here, the rainfall which we are expecting South Peninsula, that is 88 to 112% of the long period average. The 88 to 112% of the long period average. That means long period average is 334.13 millimeter for the Southeast Peninsula, and rainfall this year will be 88 to 112%. Normal to above normal rainfall is likely for many areas of Northwest India, you can just see Northwest India, and South Peninsular India. Northeast India, East Central India, adjoining areas, and some areas of Northwest India are likely to receive below normal rainfall. So this area, which has got less rainfall activity during monsoon, is also expected to get less rainfall activity during the post-monsoon season. Otherwise, remaining parts will have climatological or normal to above normal rainfall activity. So what I want to say that here also, if we just look at, even if we have given the trend 88 to 112%, finally, if I calculate and look at this figure, we can say that it could be on the positive side of the normal. Now, rainfall average over the country as a whole, if I just look at rainfall average for the country as a whole for the month of October, then it is likely to be normal again, 85 to 115%. So just to avoid confusion, I'll just go back to the previous slide. So this is the forecast for October to December. And October to December forecast, we have given that it will be normal 80 to 112%. So for the country as a whole also it will be normal, but it will be on the positive side if we look at the shading here. Many areas have the shading of blue and green, also white. But if I look at October, if I just look at you can find that more areas here have the yellow. That means October in this part will not have much rainfall activity, central India and northwest India, but there will be good rainfall activity over the northeast India and the peninsular India. The forecast says that rainfall over the rest of the country as a whole during October 2023 is most likely to be normal, that is 85 to 115% of the long period average. The long period average for the country as a whole during October is 75.4 millimeters. And most parts of India are likely to receive below normal rainfall activity in October. So many parts of South Peninsular India, Northeast India, a few pockets in the northernmost region are likely to experience above normal rainfall activity. The white shaded areas indicates the land area. In the land area indicates the climatological probability. So I'll just again show the previous one. If you just look at the previous one, yes, you are expecting South Peninsula to have good rainfall activity. That is on the positive side of the normal, you can expect country as a whole. But if you look at month of October, the rainfall activity is less comparatively, but still it can come under the normal category because rainfall over central and northeast India for the month of October usually is less. That is shown in the dotted line here. The dots indicates that normal is quite less here. Therefore, when you consider this forecast, you also consider the variability. Less than normal, higher is the variability of rainfall activity, and hence there could be more uncertainty in the forecast. Now let us look at the maximum temperature. Since rainfall is expected less, therefore the maximum temperature is also expected to be more in the country. This is the forecast for October only, not for October, December. So October forecast indicates that both maximum temperature and minimum temperature are expected to be above normal in many parts of the country. मैं आपको अभी हिंदी में जानकारी दूंगा कि अक्टूबर से दिसंबर तक जो पीरियड है इसमें वर्षा की संभावना क्या हो सकता है। अक्टूबर से दिसंबर 2023 की वर्षा दक्षिण प्रायद्वीप भारत में औसतन सामान्य रहने का संभावना है, यानी 88 to 112% लॉन्ग पीरियड अवधि दीर्घावधि औसत का 88 to 112% होने का संभावना है। 1971 से 2020 तक जो आंकड़ा है इसके आधारित आप देखेंगे दक्षिण प्रायद्वीप का जो एरिया है इसका औसत होता है 334.13 मिलीमीटर। दक्षिण प्रायद्वीपीय भारत के अधिकतर भागों में सामान्य से लेकर सामान्य से अधिक वर्षा की संभावना के संकेत देता है। हालांकि पूर्वोत्तर भारत के अधिकांश हिस्सों, पूर्व मध्य भारत, आसपास के क्षेत्रों और प्रायद्वीप भारत के कई क्षेत्रों में सामान्य से कम बारिश होने की संभावना है। अक्टूबर से दिसंबर के मौसम के दौरान मानचित्र में दिखाए गए बिंदीदार डॉटेड क्षेत्र का जलवायु विज्ञान के अनुसार बहुत कम बारिश होता है, कम वर्षा होता है और भूमि क्षेत्र के भीतर सफेद छायांकित क्षेत्र जलवायु संबंधी संभावनाओं का प्रतिनिधित्व करता है। अभी मैं अक्टूबर के रेनफॉल के पूर्वानुमान बताऊंगा। अक्टूबर 2023 के दौरान पूरे देश में औसत वर्षा सामान्य एलपीए का 85 to 115% होने की संभावना है। 1971 to 2020 के आंकड़ों से आधार के सितंबर महीने में दौरान देश भर में वर्षा के एलपीए लगभग 75.4 मिलीमीटर है। तो भारत के अधिकांश हिस्सों में सामान्य से कम बारिश होने की संभावना है अक्टूबर महीना में। हालांकि दक्षिण प्रायद्वीपीय भारत के कई क्षेत्र, उत्तर पूर्व भारत, सबसे उत्तरी क्षेत्र में कुछ हिस्सों पर देश के पूर्व तट पर सामान्य से अधिक बारिश होने की संभावना है। और यहाँ भी भूमि क्षेत्र में जो भीतर सफेद छायांकित क्षेत्र है वहां जलवायु संबंधी संभावनाओं का प्रतिनिधित्व होता है। तापमान की बात करें तो अधिकतम तापमान अक्टूबर 2023 में देश के अधिकांश हिस्सों में अधिकतम तापमान सामान्य से अधिक रहने का संभावना है और न्यूनतम तापमान भी अधिकांश हिस्सों में सामान्य से अधिक रहने की भी संभावना दिखाई देता है। अभी मैं एक्सटेंडेड रेंज फोरकास्ट जो आज इशू हुआ 28 सितंबर को, 2 दिन पहले इशू हुआ है, इसका मैं जानकारी दूंगा। एज फॉर दिस एक्सटेंडेड रेंज फोरकास्ट वीक 1 का जो फोरकास्ट आप देख रहे हैं कि अच्छा बारिश का संभावना है ईस्टर्न इंडिया में, स्पेशली अगेंस्ट वेस्ट बंगाल, झारखंड, बिहार, छत्तीसगढ़, ईस्ट यूपी एंड योर वेस्ट कोस्ट एंड महाराष्ट्र इलाके में जैसे आपको दिखाई दे रहा है प्रकाश, देखिए जो आज आप एक डिप्रेशन देख रहे हैं, ये डिप्रेशन हिसाब से ज्यादा बारिश दिखा रहा था, 28 को हम पूर्वानुमान दिए थे। अभी देखिए कि कैसे अभी रेनफॉल बढ़ रहा है। आज हम एक्सट्रीम हेवी रेनफॉल वार्निंग दिए हैं साउथ कोंकण गोवा एरिया के लिए। यहाँ जो बारिश आप ज्यादा देख रहे हैं, इसके कारण वो एक वर्ल्ड मार्क लो प्रेशर एरिया अभी नॉर्थ वेस्ट बंगाल, नॉर्थ उड़ीसा वेस्ट बंगाल कोस्ट के आसपास है, और ये आज नॉर्थ उड़ीसा वेस्ट बंगाल होते हुए कल तक लैंड पर जाएगा, और जो डिप्रेशन जो है वो धीरे धीरे भी जाकर अंदर पहुंचेगा। ये जो पैटर्न आप देख रहे हैं, ये पैटर्न इसलिए है कि दो लो प्रेशर सिस्टम्स डेवलप हुआ है। ये मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ कि ये जो फोरकास्ट है, एक्सटेंडेड फोरकास्ट, ये सिर्फ रेनफॉल नहीं, इसके एसोसिएटेड सर्कुलेशन फीचर्स को भी अच्छे से प्रमाणित कर रहा है और पूर्वानुमान दे रहा है। सेकेंड वीक की बात करें कि ये दिखाई दे रहा है कि सेकेंड वीक में भी रेनफॉल जारी रहेगा, मगर रेनफॉल ज्यादा कुछ ईस्टर्न इंडिया यानी वेस्ट बंगाल, सदर्न वेस्ट बंगाल, सिक्किम, नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स में ज्यादा होने का संभावना है। इसका रीजन यही है कि ये जो 5 अक्टूबर से ये जो अभी जो लो प्रेशर सिस्टम यहाँ है, यहाँ जाने के बाद इसका रेमनांट्स ये जाएगा नॉर्थ ईस्ट वर्ड्स, एक वेस्टर्न डिस्टेंस से इंटरेक्शन होगा, सो अच्छा बारिश होने का संभावना है सदर्न वेस्ट बंगाल सिक्किम से शुरू करके नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट्स यानी अरुणाचल प्रदेश तक, मेघालय। और ये जो बारिश सेंट्रल इंडिया में देख रहे हैं, ये इसका रेमनांट होगा, जो सिस्टम अभी जा रहे हैं एज ए डिप्रेशन कोंकण, साउथ कोंकण के ऊपर। थर्ड वीक की बात करें तो रेनफॉल एक्टिविटी नॉर्मल रहेगा, मगर साउथ पेनिनसुलर एरिया में रेनफॉल बढ़ेगा, क्योंकि थर्ड एक्टिविटी नॉर्मल पीरियड होता है, जबकि साउथ ईस्ट मानसून जाते हुए नॉर्थ ईस्ट मानसून का आगमन होता है, नॉर्थ ईस्ट मानसून का अनसेट होता है एकदम से साउथ ईस्ट पेनिनसुला में, तो रेनफॉल भी बढ़ने का संभावना होता है। इसमें ये दिखाई देता है शायद जो विड्रॉयल प्रोसेस अभी शुरू हुआ है वो तेजी से जारी रहेगा, और साउथ ईस्ट मानसून नॉर्मल टाइम के आसपास विड्रॉयल होते हुए नॉर्थ ईस्ट मानसून भी नॉर्मल टाइम के आसपास कंट्री में प्रवेश करेगा। मगर फोर्थ वीक आप देखें तो फोर्थ वीक में रेनफॉल एक्टिविटी रिड्यूस हो रहा है और नॉर्मल एक्टिविटी होने का संभावना है। सेकंड सिस्टम हमारे पास है, वो भी ऐसे ही दिखाई दे रहा है। फर्स्ट 2 वीक्स में अच्छा बारिश होने का संभावना है। अभी जो आज का हालत है मैं आपको बता दूं, एक अच्छा कंडीशन है बारिश के लिए। 2 सिस्टम डेवलप हुआ है, एक लो प्रेशर सिस्टम जो कि वर्मा प्रेशर एरिया जैसे यहाँ केंद्रित होते हैं, और ये नॉर्थ उड़ीसा वेस्ट बंगाल कोस्ट को गति करते हुए कल लैंड के ऊपर पहुंच जाएगा। दूसरा, यहाँ जो एक डिप्रेशन आज सुबह डेवलप हुआ है साउथ कोंकण गोवा की कोस्ट के आसपास, ये धीरे धीरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट मूव कर रहा है, और आज रात तक ये अंदर चला जाएगा, और अंदर जाते वक्त डिप्रेशन ही रहेगा। जाने के बाद लैंड के ऊपर ये वीक होगा धीरे धीरे, मगर इसका रेमनांट्स धीरे धीरे इंटीरियर पार्ट्स को मूव करेगा। सो ये दोनों सिस्टम की वजह से अच्छा रेनफॉल होने का संभावना है। हमारा जो पूर्वानुमान है आज के, इसके हम ऑरेंज कलर टू रेड कलर वार्निंग दिए हैं वेस्ट कोस्ट में, स्पेशली साउथ कोंकण एरिया और गोवा एरिया में एक्सट्रीमली हेवी रेनफॉल होने का संभावना है आज और कल। इसके साथ साथ विंड स्पीड आप देखेंगे तो 45 to 55 किलोमीटर पर आवर, वेस्टर्न 65 किलोमीटर पर आवर प्रिवेल कर रहा है, और ये विंड स्पीड जारी रहेगा कल तक ये एरिया में, स्पेशली ईस्ट सेंट्रल अरेबियन सी, साउथ कोंकण, गोवा, कर्नाटक कोस्ट के पास जो एरिया है। इसलिए जो फिशरमैन है वो सभी को हम वार्निंग दिए हैं वो समुद्र के अंदर नहीं जाना चाहिए। ये एक बेल्ट है, और केरला कोस्ट में भी रेनफॉल हैवी टू वेरी हेवी हो सकता है, कर्नाटक कोस्ट में भी हैवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल हो सकता है। और यहाँ जो वेलमार्क लो प्रेशर है, इसके प्रभाव में आज सबसे ज्यादा बारिश उड़ीसा यानी जो वेस्ट बंगाल झारखंड में होने का संभावना है, हैवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल एक्टिविटी। फिर कल कंटिन्यू करेगा, उड़ीसा, झारखंड और बिहार में ज्यादा रेनफॉल पड़ेगा, और सब वेस्ट बंगाल सिक्किम में। और फिर थर्ड डे को भी हेवी रेनफॉल जारी रहेगा, हैवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल, और स्पेशली थर्ड डे को साउथ नागालैंड, वेस्ट बंगाल, सिक्किम में हैवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल होने का संभावना है। अभी आप विंड स्पीड की बात करें, जैसे हम बोल रहा था कि अभी 45 to 55 किलोमीटर पर आवर, गस्टिंग टू 65 किलोमीटर पर आवर विंड स्पीड अभी चालू है, और एरिया अभी रेखांकित किया गया है यहाँ शेडिंग एरिया, और इसे पूर्वानुमान हम सभी फिशरमैन भाइयों को जारी कर रहे हैं, और सभी अथॉरिटीज को भी हमारा पूर्वानुमान जारी है। धन्यवाद। अभी we can go for questions and comments.
Sir, here Kunal from India Today.
Yes, please, Kunal.
The first question, you have given the forecast for the month of October as far
Yes.
as the temperature and rainfall is concerned.
Yes.
Uh, since you have told us that this El Nino condition will prevail till next year, 2024 spring. So, what do we expect that the general average temperature this winter will remain above normal? What could be expected this time?
Yeah, if you look at the forecast, what I told for the month of October, it is above normal temperature. And in an El Nino year, usually the temperature is expected to be above normal, especially over northwest India. The region where we used to get the cold wave conditions or cold day conditions in November, December, especially we get here. So that is expected to be less intense this year. So, but we cannot rule out, say, cold day conditions, because there is large variability in the temperature also during this period. But one thing is clear, there is a trend which is reflected, which is endorsing the fact that during El Nino years, the frequency of cold day or cold wave conditions become less. And therefore, this forecast of temperature for the month of October also is in agreement with that. But forecast for October to December temperature we have not issued today. Usually we do not issue, therefore we have not issued. But still I will say you that going by the prediction of the El Nino that it will become moderate to stronger, we can expect above normal temperature. But we'll give the forecast month-wise, and for winter season, December, January, February, we'll give the forecast by the end of November. Kunalji, am I clear?
Sir, you are clear. One more question regarding this year's monsoon. Can we say that the arid area this year is almost 40 to 50%? What is your calculation about the arid areas in the country where the rainfall is below normal, obviously, and severely arid areas? How many districts? How much area are you giving for severely arid region, especially during this monsoon? Yeah.
Yeah, I do not have that map here, Kunalji, but it can be shared to you, and it is being prepared by our office in Pune. I'll request our friends to share with you. The district-wise aridity map can be shared. I think already it is there in the website, but still we will share. Okay, but if you just look at the subdivisional distribution, yes, only those subdivisions like East UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, East West Bengal is the deficient rainfall and MMT. Kerala has the deficient rainfall. South India Karnataka has deficient rainfall. District-wise map also I have shown you. It shows that yes, rainfall was deficient in some of the interior districts, which are usually arid in the southern peninsula. But in addition to that, eastern districts are also the deficient, especially over East UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, and West Bengal.
Yeah, this is Nilkamal from the Times of India.
Yes, please.
Yeah. We had submitted that the forecast in gone haywire in the month of August. So, is there any proposal to update the system so that we could get our forecast just to near to the actual position, so that people could get the fair idea of what is going to happen in the next days or next month?
Yeah. So thank you very much for raising these questions. The extreme is always a challenge. And this type of extreme, which is 36% below the long period average, which has been a record in the history of IMD, that is 1901 to 2023, is certainly a challenge. And IMD always examines, whenever there is a failure, we examine. But it is not a complete failure, I'll tell you, on this forecast of August. We have predicted that it will be below normal, but we could not predict that it will be such a below normal. So we will investigate it. We'll find out at the region. Some investigation what we have carried out that I presented today. But there will be some in-depth review, analysis, discussion. We will circulate this issue to all the academics and R&D institutes, those who carry out the research. Something will be found out what could be the further possible reason for this type of deficiency in August, and what could be the precursor to determine this type of deficiency in the month of August. While we could, if we can do that, it will certainly help all the users. But it is an ongoing process. You will agree that over the years, the forecast has improved. And by that way, we have come up with the spatial distribution. Earlier, we had given just one figure. By that, we have come up with each month forecast, where we are not giving earlier that forecast. So there is a lot of improvement based on the R&D carried out in IMD, Minister of Earth Sciences, and all allied organizations within the country and outside. Monsoon Mission is a very ambitious program taken by Minister of Earth Sciences, where all organizations within country and outside take off the various research work, examine, and bring out certain solutions.
Thank you.
Very clear?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Is there any other questions?
So good afternoon. This is Anjali Marar from the Indian Express.
Bole, Madam Anjali.
Yes, Kerala is one of the most deficient states this season. Is it the worst rainfall season for Kerala? Because
Yes.
none of the weeks Kerala has received normal rainfall. So is there any explanation for that? Thank you.
Yeah, that is, I have told you and you also told that Kerala was the most deficient among all the deficient subdivisions, what I presented here. And one of the most important fact is that this year, if you just look at monsoon, Bay of Bengal was more active than Arabian Sea. The Bay of Bengal, once active, means it helps in development of low pressure systems. It also helps more activity in the central India. But Arabian Sea current should be active to improve the rainfall activity along the west coast, and especially when you consider the Kerala. So west coast trough, there is another factor. Hardly we have any west coast trough active on many days along the west coast. So that was lacking. The performance of the west coast trough was lacking, and Arabian Sea current was not so active this year as compared to the Bay of Bengal. These are two reasons why Kerala could not get good rainfall activity. But one point is that the normal rainfall for Kerala is also quite high. So therefore, it has also resulted in no hazardous situation in Kerala.
But when was the last or in the recent decades when Kerala received similar rainfall deficiency? Is there any record that you could share?
The record is there. I think Dr. Srijit,
Okay.
I request Dr. Srijit to send you the data or whatever information you need. Record is there. For each meteorological subdivision, we have data from 1901.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
And that is also available in our website.
Sure, I'll check. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
I'm Rishabh. I just wanted to know that what was the performance of monsoon this year in the core monsoon zone, and I would also like to know that which are the regions which are covered in the core monsoon zone, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. This core monsoon zone is the central India. If I am sure our colleagues also can add Dr. Srijit in that it is the part of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and this constitutes the core zone of monsoon. And this year rainfall is exactly the normal. The departure is 0. Latent activity is normal over the monsoon core zone. This is. So, do you want to add, Dr. Srijit, monsoon core zone?
We have correctly indicated that core monsoon zone is, as you mentioned, that is Central Indian region. That is, we have correctly indicated that normal rainfall we have given in that category.
Yes. The forecast was normal rainfall, and it has been exactly the normal. Percentage departure is 0.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah.
That is 100%.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And this is very important. You raised this point. I should thank you. This monsoon core zone is the rain-fed area of the country. Irrigation is quite less. Therefore, the good rainfall activity in monsoon core zone also ensures that rain-fed agriculture is not affected.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think Dr. Balasubramanian.
Hello, sir.
Kishuk from Pune.
Sir.
One by one. One by one.
Dr. Balasubramanian.
Yes, please.
how about the cyclone activity during October, November, December, in particular to Tamil Nadu coastal areas?
So there is no such seasonal forecast of this frequency of cyclones by India Meteorological Department, because we hardly get 5 cyclones in a year. Out of 5, 3 develops, 3 to 4 develops in post-monsoon season, October, December, 1 or 2 develops in pre-monsoon season. So therefore, frequency is so less that variability is quite high. So we do not go for seasonal forecast. But I can just tell you some kind of qualitative assessment. Since it is an El Nino year, what happens in El Nino year that I want to say, and what happens in positive IOD year. The El Nino year is not so much favorable for more frequent cyclones. Usually in El Nino year, we get less number of cyclones over Bay of Bengal. The second point is that during El Nino year, the genesis takes place in the lower latitude, and they are short-lived. They move west-northwestwards. And therefore, during El Nino year, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, and South Andhra Pradesh are expected to experience the cyclones, unlike Odisha, North Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, and Bangladesh. The next thing is that during El Nino years, the track length is less as compared to normal track length, and the life period of the cyclones is also less. So these are some of the findings which we have carried out from the analysis during El Nino year. This is the case. So therefore, if this is the case, so this will favor the rainfall activity over Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. So during El Nino years, generally we get good rainfall activity. Now consider the positive IOD year. This is also positive IOD year. Positive IOD year is not good for again for the cyclone activity. Negative IOD helps in more frequent and more intense cyclones over the Bay of Bengal. So since it is a positive IOD and so forecast is that the positive IOD will continue, that will also not favor for more frequent and more intense cyclones over the Bay of Bengal. So, so this is some kind of qualitative assessment of the role of IOD and El Nino on the cyclonic activity in October to December.
There is apprehension in Tamil Nadu among the media that 2015 was an El Nino year and there was a very heavy rainfall in Chennai, around 49 centimeters. This year also El Nino year. Is there a possibility for Chennai to get floods like?
It is very difficult to say in a seasonal forecast whether Chennai will get very heavy or extremely rainfall. For that purpose, we have got the extended range forecast, we have got the medium range forecast, we have got the short range forecast, then we have got the nowcast. So the seasonal forecast provides a general pattern. In general pattern says that during El Nino years, Tamil Nadu gets good rainfall activity. But not that every El Nino year it will get good rainfall activity. But forecast today, what we have issued today, it is a good rainfall activity. It will be normal monsoon rainfall activity, normal northeast monsoon rainfall activity over southeast peninsula, including Tamil Nadu and Puducherry.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, Ashish ji.
From Pune.
Ashish ji, हाँ. Mr. Ashish.
सर आपने कहा कि एल नीनो 2024 तक कंटिन्यू रहेगा, तो इसका असर कब तक रहेगा और क्या ये अगले बारिश पे भी असर करेगा?
यूजुअली एल नीनो जो इम्पैक्ट होता है बारिश का, तो हम डिस्कस कर लिया ना. वी हैव डिस्कस बोथ साउथ ईस्ट मानसून, नॉर्थ ईस्ट मानसून. इसके साथ साथ इसका इम्पैक्ट होता है टेम्परेचर में. एंड टेम्परेचर यही है कि विंटर सीजन का टेम्परेचर इम्पैक्ट यही होता है कि टेम्परेचर नॉर्मल से ज्यादा होता है ड्यूरिंग एल नीनो ईयर. और इस बार स्पेशली हमने आपको जो अक्टूबर फोरकास्ट दिखाया, इसमें हमने यही प्रेडिक्ट किया कि टेम्परेचर विल बी अबव नॉर्मल. ओके.
क्या वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस पर भी और नंबर ऑफ वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस पर भी एल नीनो का कोई इम्पैक्ट होगा इस साल? क्या कुछ इसमें रिलेशन है कि एल नीनो ईयर में कम वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस आता है या ज्यादा आता है? कुछ इस तरीके का स्टडी है? क्योंकि नॉर्मली
there are studies, but there is no significant relationship. There is no significant relationship.
Sir?
Yes.
Good evening, Mahapatra sir. Thank you very much for the detailed presentation. My question is regarding the deficient rainfall in Kerala in the month of June. Just days before, IMD has predicted that there will be excess rainfall in Kerala in the month of June. but it turned out to be very deficient. Any high analysis from IMD, Mohapatra sir?
Yes, so certainly we are analyzing. Therefore, I showed you all the results today. What happened in June, what happened in July. Every month, results also I presented today. Okay. So in the month of June, the onset was not a classical onset. It was weak onset, and whatever moisture was there, it was being carried out by the cyclone Biparjoy. Therefore, after the onset of Kerala, the rainfall activity could not be continued. Therefore, it could not give good rainfall activity.
Okay. Thank you, Mohapatra sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
So, hello.
Hello, sir. Can I audible?
Yes, Bali, please tell.
Sir, my name is Shubham Vikas Miller from Maharashtra. So my first question is, in what the recent days, the August, I tell you, the August, the deficient rainfall, what happened at that time?
That we have already discussed, and I have shown you in the last presentation in the 31st August, and today also I told you. In the month of August, there were no low pressure area. El Nino conditions developed. IOD could not develop. IOD was neutral. So these are the three important parameters. Apart from that, the medium Julian oscillation was not in favorable phase. It suppressed the convective activity over Indian region. These are the four reasons why August could not get good rainfall activity.
Thank you.
Hello.
Sir, my second question, what is the Indian Ocean dipole?
The
Indian Ocean dipole.
What you want to know? You want to know what is Indian Ocean dipole? Now, what you want? What is your question?
Sir, my question is, what is the Indian Ocean dipole and what is it affect the Indian Ocean?
So that already we are discussing that point in every Indian Ocean dipole is a phenomena which occurs in the equatorial Indian Ocean. West equatorial Indian Ocean becomes warmer sometimes, and East equatorial Indian Ocean becomes cooler. So this condition is called as the positive Indian Ocean dipole. In certain years, West equatorial Indian Ocean becomes cooler, East equatorial Indian Ocean becomes warmer. That is called as the negative Indian Ocean dipole. The positive Indian Ocean dipole leads to a more intense cross-equatorial flow over Arabian Sea and hence good for monsoon rainfall. Negative Indian Ocean dipole is the opposite to positive Indian Ocean dipole. It weakens the monsoon current over the Arabian Sea and hence the rainfall decreases. So positive Indian Ocean dipole is good for Indian monsoon. Negative Indian Ocean dipole is not good for Indian monsoon.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you. Okay. So thank you very much. We are really thankful and grateful to all of you for your patience and for your cooperations and collaboration with all of us. So with all together, we can work during monsoon season. Every monsoon is a challenge, and this monsoon was also a challenge because of this El Nino. But it ended well. It gave good rainfall activity. Also, forecast became correct. So thank you very much for your patience listening, and we'll work together. We'll come back again by the end of October to provide you the forecast for the subsequent month. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.